Get out the insurance cards, get out the co-pays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Look Back podcast with Sam and Maddie, brought to you by drroto.com. Get your daily prescription of fantasy sports. Maddie, how are you? Week 18 is over. We're on to the playoffs. Are you excited? Are you exhausted? Like, I feel like so many emotions right now. I'm happy, I'm tired. I want to throw up a little bit, but it's all good. Like, I don't know.
Spoken like a true Steelers fan. I wouldn't expect you to feel any other way. I was actually going to ask you how you felt because I mean, wow. Yeah. They wanted the Steelers in the playoffs.
Yeah, I guess they did. I kept hearing a lot of that, why didn't the Raiders just kneel and let the tie go to tie? But, they're division rivals. At the end of the day, if you don't play to win the game, you play to be competitive, to knock out a rival. Like, this isn't like there's no participation trophies. I feel like more people would be more upset if they allowed it to just go to a tie than anything else in that game, because I mean, it would just to me, that's zero sportsmanship. And like yeah, we'll just both go to the playoffs. No, like, come on, no. So, but not to say that it wasn't an emotional roller coaster having to go through all of that. That was just, definitely gave me some extra gray hairs, took some years off my life. I'm 34, but I probably look like, 60 today. I just feel decrepit.
You look great. I mean, yeah, as a can you imagine if you were playing for either one of these teams and your coach was just like, you know what? We made it this far. We're just going to kneel and we're going to both go and it's going to be fine and we're going to settle for a tie. I wouldn't want to play for a coach like that.
No.
It wouldn't give you any motivation going into the playoffs, which you absolutely need. And yeah, no, I mean, I will tell you, I was exhausted last night. So I was like, all right, I don't care. Let's tie it up. Let's go. But then after Josh Jacobs just decided to run through walls. Yeah. I was like, okay, I'm here for this. Let's go Raiders.
Yeah. I mean, I was so kind of footballed out by the end of the day because I was just on top of every single game. And then I was so exhausted after going through overtime with the Steelers game. And we'll get to that, I'm sure, a little bit later. But I was just so tired. I was like, yeah, I don't care who wins. It doesn't matter who wins as long as they don't tie. I'm fine. So I was just intentionally not watching the game because I was like, I need a break. I need me time. And then my dad texted me. He was like, "Are you watching this game?" And when my dad texts me if I'm watching this game, that means that like I need to be watching this game. So I turn it on. I'm just like, my brain just exploded. I was just like, why? I was completely relaxed up until right now. All the anxiety is back.
Honestly, all you needed to watch in that game was like the last 3 minutes and you were fine. But it was insane. The fourth down conversions. I mean, to sum it all up, the Chargers' lack of run defense is what kind of tanked him. Like it has been their entire season.
It has.
Justin Herbert's amazing.
Justin Herbert is amazing. That is also the resolution of the story. I did go back, and because I have YouTube TV, I could watch the rest of the game. So I did rewind it and I watched it all again so I could at least figure out everything, all the storylines and everything that was happening, everything that went wrong. And I was just, all of it was so much too. And I just kept watching
the podcast. I'm sorry.
I know, I'm so happy that your dogs won't join the podcast because Knox is asleep behind me. Oh, little one. Hello, Fluff.
He's so ugly. He's cute. Okay.
I love him. Oh, I want to cuddle him. He's so cute. No, so I was watching the game and I was watching the third quarter and I'm like, everyone keeps saying all these fourth down conversions. I'm like, where are we going to get to this like nail biting moment? Because everything just looked terrible. I was like, how are they supposed to come back? It was kind of like rewatching, like going to if you ever pick up a book in class and you're like, I'm just going to read the last page and like, what? That's crazy. And then you start the book again. You're like, how does it end up there? That's kind of how I felt the whole third quarter, even into the fourth quarter. And I'm like, when is this supposed to get good? and then it all, of course, happened in the last couple minutes. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is insane. It was definitely a roller coaster of a game. So many implications, so much talk also about the Raiders coach, the interim coach, and how he's been handling this season. You can tell how well his players respect him. And I feel like he did a really good job. I think on the other side of the ball, the Chargers coach obviously has some questionable moments, to name a few. why did they take time out there and all these moments and like just why didn't they give Justin Herbert the ball sooner? And it was all insane. Oh gosh, we got someone joining us. Daniel's tuning in. Thank you. Saying college championship game and the Look Back podcast. Talk about spoiled. You're welcome.
We were a little bored with the college championship game, so started early.
13-8.
But thank you for joining in all the way in Australia, Daniel. You are a true champ. True gem. But no, my thing with the timeout is if you want to take it, but then do something. You know that they were going to run the ball. Why are we not run blitzing right there? I don't understand. Hey, Kyle.
Hey, Kyle. Thanks for tuning in.
That was my issue with the timeout. Like if you're going to take a timeout there, it's to make some changes. So make some changes.
Yeah.
Do something.
Yeah. Do a thing to make sense of what you just did. Like this is not playing right. And then obviously the whole game, the storyline as well of just, why weren't they using Justin Herbert for Justin Herbert? Like why wasn't he passing the ball so much more than he was in the first half of the game? Why wasn't it until the fourth quarter when you needed him to convert every fourth down that you were like, yes, air it out?
The Raiders were targeting their weak spot, which is the right side of that offensive line. And we've been talking about it for all season long. It hasn't gotten better. I think a lot of it does come down to the talent that they have. It's just not I don't think that the right tackle's developed. I don't think that the right guard has any will to want to do his job or to be any better. I don't think that they have the athleticism. Yeah. I mean, 8-year veteran and
off season.
Yeah. And so I think that if they can strengthen up the offensive line, they can get any sort of help on the defense, really. Like anything would be awesome. Like it doesn't even have to be like a strong unit, just like a little bit of help.
Just a little bit better. Just be better, and then that'll help a lot.
It'll help a lot. Justin Herbert can do insane things, but he can't do it by himself. But I do think that fixing the right side of that offensive line, developing it, whatever they want to do is going to help Justin Herbert significantly next year.
Hi, Daniel. Throwing up some waves. Appreciate you. I think that also when you look at the Chargers and how they've developed over the last couple years, since discovering the fact that they have Justin Herbert and all his amazingness and realizing they have all this potential with him. And then obviously this offseason with changing coaches and obviously trying to get more defensive minded because their defense was absolutely deplorable before that. I think that this is just a team that's still in transition, but because of how good Justin Herbert is, we just want more out of them. And I think that's kind of like, we need to remember, like they're almost in a full rebuild that they're trying to do within 2 years. And that takes so much more work than what we've seen, and more work than I think what probably fantasy managers are willing to wait for.
Right.
Just in terms of overall, but there's still a lot of bright spots. I think that the entire offensive core as we know it right now is probably going to stay pretty much the same in the offseason. I'd guess. I can't imagine who necessarily would go, but I'm also excited for this core next season in redraft scenarios, in any new dynasties that I happen to get into. Not that I want to, not throwing it out there. Don't invite me into any dynasty leagues.
Your DMs are about to get blown up.
Too many dynasty leagues anyways. It's too much, but for dynasty purposes, I love dynasty. It's like, it's just, it's my love hate. That's my
digging the hole deeper.
What's that phrase that everyone keeps saying? That's my toxic trait.
My toxic trait. Sam's talking like the cool kids.
I'm trying to talk like I know how to use TikTok, but I really don't. No, it's definitely a toxic trait. I can't with too many dynasty leagues. Yes.
But it's a benefit to us, so
it is. I try. It's all for everybody else. It's to help everyone. All that being said, like I'm still excited about every single offensive player here going into next season. I mean, obviously Mike Williams had some great moments and then dropped off completely. Again, to me, that speaks to the consistency overall on the entire team and all the work they need to do there to be more consistent as a unit. And I'm not out on him. He's someone that I'm still looking at in drafts, but depending on where he falls, that could be a value where you get him. I don't think I'm jumping too early on him now, just seeing how it can go and level off,
The still chemistry is there.
Yeah. Keenan Allen, love him. And then Austin Eckler obviously proved himself ending the season as high as he did in terms of running back rankings. And just in PPR formats, he is a must draft in that first round.
Love Eckler.
Yeah,
I love Eckler. I agree. Do you want to know what's not fantastic?
What?
The Jags beating the Colts.
Okay, I'm so glad we're talking about this now. Yeah, because that was another thing too. Like on Saturday when you were thinking like Ravens Steelers, and we're both just like, okay, yeah, we'll make the playoffs if the Jags beat the Colts.
We joked about it. It was a literal joke.
We laughed about it later. I wrote it down in my diary and laughed about it later that night. Like that's how like it was just it made no sense as like a thing that could actually happen. But it did.
Somebody tweeted out, this is going to be a sad ending to Hard Knocks.
Oh, that's so good.
I know. Kyle, you're the man.
Yeah. I mean, just brutal.
No, but Carson Wentz did Carson Wentz things. The offensive line did not play well.
Yeah. Same shit.
Yeah.
The Colts beating the Jags is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
she's feeling real great today.
Super good.
I don't know. You guys were put through like the emotional just ringer yesterday.
It was an emotional roller coaster to say
the least.
The whole weekend. It was definitely, I mean, also
Jamal Agnew.
Jamal Agnew.
You're right, Kyle.
I think starting off too with Monday, and obviously that being Ben's last home game, and we're like, wow, this is going to be the last game Ben plays at home stadium, and the next week is probably his last game. The whole week. Next week is probably his last game. And then it was like, maybe he has another game. Maybe. Oh my God. Like it was just this escalation of emotions that was just too much. It was too much to handle.
And I mean, the whole, TJ Watt thing.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Just love that man. Very glad.
Love the Watt brothers.
Love them. Love the Watt brothers.
Love the Watt brothers.
The last time I got to actually go to a Steelers game was when the Chargers were playing at StubHub Arena before SoFi, so the year before they moved. And that arena is much, much smaller. It's a soccer stadium inherently, so it's much smaller than anything else. But it was a really fun game to watch football at because you were super close and everyone had a good seat. But also leaving that game was super cool because I got to see the parents. And oh my gosh, it was just like, first of all, the dad, the patriarch, he is a big man. That is a big dude.
He's a big boy.
He is a big boy.
You have to be a big boy to create the men
that he's created. Yes, but then the mom is just the most precious mom singer. She reminds me of every mom I've seen at any of my brother's games growing up, any track meet. She's just like, I'm like, she's only missing like a poster of like, I love my son. Like she's just such a cute little lady. I love her. She's adorable.
I love observing family members of players at sporting events. It's not just football, but football is one of my favorites. Like when I was at OU, I lived with part of the offensive line. So my tickets were in the family section. And so like I had all of these moms and dads around me, and the dads were always like very stoic. They'd sit there and they're just like this, like all game. Like maybe if a really great something happened, you get a little. But the moms were like about ready to like take people out, screaming, cussing,
don't you touch my kid, like, oh
things. Like, yeah. Aaron Ripkowski, he was I remember he had one hit and he got ejected for targeting, and it was not targeting. I will say he didn't lower his head. He just like took the guy out because it was a great hit. They called him for targeting, and his mom got thrown out of the stadium. They both got thrown out because she lost her mind. And it was so funny. It was one of the, and then you had like the other moms that were like just egging her on. It was just pure entertainment. But yeah, one of my favorite things to do when I go to games.
So good. Let's talk a little bit more about the Colts game and the Jags game, because obviously just not expected at all in terms of what we thought the outcome would be. But I think this is really just a testament to me to put one more stamp in the book of why I think Jonathan Taylor deserves the MVP so much, because it's clearly the Colts have just been on his shoulders the entire season. And when he's not performing, you're left with Carson Wentz. And he's not going to win you a game.
It's
brutal.
I think that was a theme of this week, if we had to choose a theme, it is pressure that certain quarterbacks can't handle. And I'm not talking about 300-pound men rushing at your face, not just that blitz pressure that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the pressure of going to playoffs, making it past regular season.
Yep.
Some of these quarterbacks take on like this Superman persona where they feel like they have to do everything. Carson Wentz is known for doing this constantly. I mean, Matthew Stafford, same thing.
100%.
They have this Superman complex and they end up ruining it for their team because they are trying to do too much. Let your team perform and stop making dumb decisions, because that's what it came down to with Carson Wentz. I mean, everybody was just like, stop. At what point do you just pull him out of the game? Because honestly, you're better off having Jonathan Taylor take a snap from behind and just run.
Yeah, no, literally. It just it was very upsetting to realize the culmination of the end of the season was, I think, also probably for Colts fans to be like, okay, we have Jonathan Taylor, but we're also just shackled with Carson Wentz. And I don't know that they make a move this offseason to change that. I don't think that the Colts are necessarily in that position or think that they're going to make that move. But what has to change in order to make him more successful? Because in my opinion, I feel like Jonathan Taylor is able to do a lot behind that offensive line. So is it Jonathan Taylor, or is it, and this is a perfect question for you, being the one that you are in analyzing offensive lines, but like, doesn't Carson have enough time, or is it just me? Like,
so I will say that offensive line had a bad game this weekend. They did. Okay. Week 18 didn't look great, but that offensive line is a great line, and typically they perform really well. I will say guarding a quarterback like Carson Wentz is incredibly difficult because, one, he holds onto the ball way too long. Mm-hmm. Two, he makes dumb decisions, which is hard for it's hard for you to protect a guy when you don't know what he's going to do. He doesn't know what he's going to do, and he takes too long to make a decision. He's not decisive. Whenever he does try to be decisive, we watched it play out yesterday. So I think that it's just, if you're asking me if it's a quarterback or an offensive line issue, I think that it's a quarterback issue. I think that you get really almost anybody else behind that offensive line, and they could have made it. They would have won that game 100%.
I agree. Because like, he has weapons too. Like, I mean, Michael Pittman has had amazing flashes this entire season of brilliance in terms of like not just fantasy performance, but just overall skills and awareness on the field that you'd expect from a much older receiver. He really has all of it to be, amazing for the next several years, not just for fantasy purposes, obviously, but to be a really good weapon on that team. And so you look around and you're like, it's not that you're really lacking players here, Carson. Like, this is when you're sitting in the room and you're wondering who it is, it's you. Like, and if you can't figure it out, if you look around the room and you're like, who is it, and you don't know, it's probably you. And that's kind of what I'm getting at with Carson. And hopefully this offseason they can restructure some things, maybe fit some plays to better be tailored to him. But at the same time, I mean, how can you look at this offense besides just saying, well, I'm drafting Jonathan Taylor and that's about it that I can have trust in?
I mean, that's what with Carson Wentz at quarterback, I don't have faith in anybody else other than Jonathan Taylor. Yeah. And the thing is like, this has been a trend. Carson's been with how many teams at this point now? And it's you, buddy. It's you. It's the same choke fest that we've seen over and over and over and over again. And I will say, like, I didn't make it very far in Hard Knocks because they're just making him out to be this great guy. And that's where I think that sometimes they get skewed with the players and then fans whenever we see this, is because, like, you can be a great guy, but this is a business, and people lose their jobs when you perform like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
100%. And no, that's a really good way to put it too, because you'll definitely get people coming at you on Twitter, and it's like, if you say like you think Carson Wentz is a terrible quarterback, you say something like that could be inflammatory to his fan, and they're like, no, he's a fantastic guy. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. Did I say I think he's a terrible person? No. I said he's bad at his job. Like, if you put me in a waitressing job, you can tell me that I'm bad at that job because I don't know how to do that job. I'm terrible, but I'm a graphic designer. So I know I'm going to be a good graphic designer if you give me a job to do that. Like, just stick with what you know. But for Carson, it's kind of like I feel like he needs to kind of go back to school a little bit on some of these things to really make some changes, some very fundamental changes at his core of how he plays the game to stay successful.
I don't think he has it in him. I know that people are going to come at me for saying this, but like I said, it's the exact same thing with Matthew Stafford. They are beating themselves in their head, which makes it really easy to take advantage of.
Yeah. Let's talk about that game next, actually. The Rams game, because that the end interception, we obviously saw the Bucs locker room watching that play and then realized they were going to get the second seed in the playoffs as a result of that interception. So nail in the coffin on that one. Just absolutely brutal, but totally a testament to what you've just said, that this week is almost a theme of guys trying to do it all and they can't. And it just didn't make sense entirely why he made that throw, why he made the call to make that play, especially to OBJ, that he hadn't had that brilliant connection with the entire game. Like, make that pass to Cooper Kupp any day, and I won't second guess it. But he had a lot of misses with Odell the entire game as well, and that also confused me.
I mean, I don't have much to say other than I think that it's a him issue.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean,
it ain't us, buddy. It's you.
He was well protected. There were several open balls that he just missed, or like you can go back and it's easy. It's easy for me to say whenever I go back and I watch film and I can do it at my own pace and I don't have like massive men flying at me that want to take my head off.
Sure.
But
whenever
I'm
on like
sitting
a
there
Tuesday?
and I'm like, your first look open, second look open, third look, fourth look open, then you go for your fifth target, and it's just like, come on now. Like, it's like he's constantly wanting to showboat, and he feels like he needs to show off his arm. Bro, we know that you can throw the ball. Like, you've proven it.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be that savior every single play or every single game. You just have to win.
Yeah.
Like, do what's best, do what's working. And sometimes another one who does this is Patrick Mahomes, but people don't want to talk about that because of all the Patrick Mahomes stands. But I said it from the beginning, and we watched that happen at the beginning of the year, and it hasn't gotten any better.
No,
the defense has started playing better, and his weapons have started adjusting. The offensive line has saved his rear. But anyways, I'm digressing. Matthew Stafford has got to get out of his own head, got to get out of his way.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you fix that.
I don't know either.
Hypnotizing him? I don't know.
Maybe.
Telling him that this game doesn't matter. And that's what it comes down to. It's the outside pressure.
Yeah. I heard from several media outlets before the game, the Rams will win this game if Stafford keeps a clean game and doesn't have an interception. The Rams will win. Like, yeah, that's probably 100% true, but we're not going to know that.
Not?
Yeah, because he obviously he is making these weird decisions that don't seem to make sense. And then he'll make these plays, usually to Cooper Kupp, who ends up saving the play and making a brilliant catch. But that,
but like, that's my thing. If anybody's going to be a savior on that team, it needs to be Cooper Kupp. Like, let him live in the glory because he makes it happen. I don't know.
Absolutely does.
And OBJ really. I wish that I could interview his dad after every game like that.
Yes, absolutely. Daniel saying Madi dropping the Mahomes truth bombs. So these are the bombs people need to hear, and Madi's just here to deliver those messages. And I'm just applauding.
Don't hype it up, Daniel. Don't hype it up.
I love it. No, let's talk about our Steelers-Ravens game, because it was an ugly game to begin with. The back and forth, there was a lot of mistakes. There was just it was a slow beginning to the game as well. It didn't get fun until the very fourth quarter, and then all of a sudden it was, tumultuous, and
it was a rough game to watch.
It wasn't a clean game. It wasn't like, oh, we did that great. It was like, Oh, what
both sides of the ball.
It was both sides of the ball. All of it was just like, oh, this is messy. I hope that TJ Watt gets the sacks that he needs to beat this record. That was like about all that I could hope for.
You know what it was like? Honestly, have you ever just gotten really plastered and then you wake up the next day and you go back and watch your like Snapchat stories or your Instagram stories and you're like, why did I think I was cute? Why was I karaokeing? Why did I look like that? Why did I post that? And you're immediately trying to delete it. And it's like 400 viewers, 600 viewers. And you're like, when did I get popular? Why do people want to watch this train wreck?
Why is this the only time that I've got this many views?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the cringe that I felt watching this game. It was bad.
It was
from two
cringy.
teams that traditionally, and I know there's a lot of injuries on both sides and all of the things. It's week 18. It's the bottom of the barrel. They don't have anything left. The Ravens weren't playing for anything.
Yeah. I mean, and the Steelers were kind of, I think they were also trying to probably just play to give Ben a good last game was probably like the main thought that they had in their heads as well, because no one thought that the Jags were going to beat the Colts. So it wasn't that type of, we have to play for the playoffs. It's like, we're playing to not lose. Like, we're just trying our best. But then it, obviously it all transpired the way that it did. But also, yeah, I agree. I think everyone, especially on the Steelers, I don't know how we're going to look going into next week because I feel like everyone's got some sort of injury after this weekend. I mean, Deontay kept like going down and then hobbling on his way back up multiple times. So I know that he's not 100%. Pat Freiermuth, I still think is not 100% after that concussion he had a bit ago because you can see there's still some missteps there. Ben obviously got hit plenty. Kyle saying,
I felt that on personal level, Kyle.
Kyle saying, I'm not that cool, not that hip or cool. What are InstaChat and Snapgram?
You don't even need to know. It's not even important.
Yeah, there's no. Yeah, don't worry about it.
But continue, Sam.
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, I don't even know where I was going with that, but no, just like I feel like I'm nervous about watching the Steelers go into this playoffs matchup. Obviously, it's the Chiefs, but I don't feel like it's 100% Chiefs, kind of going back to what you mentioned earlier about Mahomes. And I feel like there's going to have to be a lot of saving plays on other players in this one. And if the Steelers defense can, wake up, and it feels like there are moments they've been waking up more recently, if they can, and TJ Watt can go off and go crazy, we might have a chance in that one. I mean, like the slimmest of slimmest chances, like the Dumb and Dumber clip, you're telling me there's a chance.
So like, you're saying there's a chance.
Like, you're saying there's a chance. One in a
what
million.
A good reference.
Yes. Like it's 1 in a million. It's that gif over and over again is how I'm going to be feeling that entire game. But
I don't think TJ Watt is.
Kyle said, sorry to interrupt the great analysis. It's all good. It's a Monday night. We're having fun.
She's full of them. She's full of them. She'll come back with another one. Do you think TJ Watt is healthy?
No, I don't think he's 100% healthy. I think he's going to continue playing. I don't think we're not going to see him next week, but I think he's going to be in an ice bath every other hour on the hour until that game. He's going to do what
therapy, red light therapy, all of the therapies,
cryo.
He's in all of them.
Yeah. He's probably going to go and do some palm readings and some spiritual therapies as well. Just make sure everything is head to toe good. Whatever he needs to do.
Burning sage.
Yeah, he's saging. They're saging the locker room. Someone will sage it before they go in as a visitor. There's going to be a lot. Can you imagine Mike Tomlin going in and saging a locker room? I cannot. But I kind of want to see it. Like, I think that'd be really funny.
I think I would like to have Mike Tomlin as a dinner guest.
He is hands down the top of my list of like who I would love to interview. I've had this question before as a guest on other podcasts, like who would be your first person you want to interview? And I know that the question is asked because it's like you're supposed to pick like a celebrity or someone else, but I'm like, no, it's Mike Tomlin. I just know, like I don't care about anybody else. I just want to talk to you because I have so many questions about about his just mindset and how his mentality as a coach. And obviously he's gone through so much as a coach over the years with the organization. I just feel like he would be the most fun person to have a one-on-one chat with. He'd be so cool.
Oh, I think so too. Also, he's just got this swagger about him, you know?
He does have a good swagger.
I don't know what it is, but you're
it's the
attracted
refusal
to
to
it.
smile. Yes, it's the refusal to smile, or like when he like tries to hide a smile and the camera gets it, and he's just like,
and you have no idea what he's thinking. It's a poker face. I definitely asked him. Oh,
yes, you have, Kyle. Calling you out. Will Jenkins also joining us saying, "What up, guys? Better late than never. Good to see y'all. Still alive, Sam. Lol. Thank you. Yes, I'm still alive. Yeah. I'm sure that a lot of people were wondering, maybe just tuning in to make sure that I was still alive. But yes, I'm still alive.
she's still here. She's still here. I should probably send this to my mom so she knows I'm still alive too.
Oh my gosh. Let's talk about another game as well, though, because I mean, I'm sure that we'll be talking plenty of playoffs, and we can wrap this up with our playoff predictions for next weekend. And then we can, if we each pick different matchups that we think are winning, we can see who wins by the end of the week. And then we'll bring our homework back to class on Monday night, and it'll be a lot of fun.
If you hear these noises, that is my dog. I don't know when he got so vocal. He's like throwing toys at me also because he wants to play fetch. And I'm trying to ignore him, and now he's like whining. So if you hear noises like that, that's not me. Okay.
Aww. That's so cute. No, Knox is doing that too.
Your cat's playing fetch. I love it.
Yeah, stuff.
Oh
wait, okay, one more. Kyle, speaking of calling me out, I think I told Sam she picked Josh Allen too early in the Dr. Roto draft before the season. He was the QB1 again. So great call. Thank you. I knew the call I was making when I made it, Kyle. I had faith in the call. I did have to do some waiting to make sure that we were getting 100% Josh Allen, but he turned it around in the end. It was good. And
it's all about the finish
there. So made it to the playoffs in that one. That's all that matters. Which game are we going to talk about next? I just lost my train of thought.
Okay. Yeah, we are all over the place tonight. In my defense, I have been sick, so I may or may not be hungover on cough medicine right now. It's just like this weird fog. I don't normally take medicines, and so when I do, it's just like my body doesn't know what to do with it, and I'm just sedated.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I feel like I also have to apologize for my stutteringness this evening. I haven't slept very well for the past week and a half. I go through bouts of insomnia on occasion. It's one of the things that you deal with when you're also dealing with different levels of depression throughout your life. It's something that you always have to deal with. So I'm going through an insomnia time, and that's how it is. So.
And she still showed up for us.
Wow.
And you look good.
Thank you.
When I go through my insomnia phases, I look like a zombie. Close to this.
There's a lot of makeup just here. Just right here. Otherwise,
makeup's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Otherwise it'd look like I got 2 black eyes, but it'd be ridiculous. I had a lot of people message me, and they were just upset about their bets in the Packers beating the Lions, and that they had what they had bet, and they were very upset, and they're like, Sam, why didn't this happen? What's going on? And I'm like, I'm sorry, did you know that it's week 18? Did you know that the Packers clinched already and that they're planning on resting the majority of their team? They're gonna rest all of them? I'm like, yeah. Why wouldn't they? I'm like,
why do you think at the beginning of the season we were all like, if you are in charge of a league, cut it off at 17. There's no reason you need to go to week 18. No reason.
None.
Nothing good is going to happen. This is why.
Absolutely. But then I was just like, first of all, I'm like, these are people that I know that make bets very often. So I'm also just like, okay, I don't make bets on single games very often at all, just because I'm too busy setting so many lineups to really place additional bets on games. So when people hit me up about them, I'm just like, I go with my obvious takes across the board. But then when they said, what's going on with this game? And I look at them, I'm like, I'm sorry. Are you new here?
Don't introduce
you to the last week of the season in football, and a team that has clinched and has no reason to win this game. You're welcome.
I will say this is really embarrassing, and I'm going to admit this. Like I said, I had been sick this past week, so I've been taking medicine. I forgot that I bet on the Raiders to win. And last night, I know. Last night when we were watching the game, I was texting one of my friends and I was like, who do you have? And he said the Chargers. I was like, yeah, me too. Like I'm watching, I was like, they're about to score here. It was in overtime. And then everything happens and I get this ding from Bovada where I bet a parlay and I was like, oh shoot, I'm glad the Raiders won. It sealed the deal for my parlay. I placed a $10 bet and won over 300. So
that was past Madi giving future Madi a gift.
I know. And I was just like, I completely forgot until I got that alert. So obviously I shouldn't be betting on games.
Kyle has a question for us here, for you specifically, on David Bakhtiari. He said, speaking of the Packers, Madi, what did you think of David Bakhtiari's return? I thought he moved really well and looked strong.
I mean, Bakhtiari is just a beast, and we knew that he was going to come back strong, but my honest opinion, I thought that he was a little slower off the ball than what he normally is, and I think that there was some hesitation. It's almost like I don't know how to explain it in a way that is easily digestible, but it's his first movement whenever he's coming back and he's setting that back foot to drop. It's like he's not it's just the confidence isn't there yet. But I do like it will come back. It's all muscle memory. So I'm not worried about him going forward, but I do think that he was a little slower than normal.
Yeah. Well, I think coming back from an injury like that, you'd expect them to be probably slow. And I'm sure that he didn't take every rep as well in this matchup.
And I also feel like, maybe he's easing back into things, which makes sense. I mean, you want to come back strong for the playoffs. Like we said, it's week 18, but a lot of offensive line reps. I mean, a lot of what comes down to it is repetition and that muscle memory and building that. And that's just going to take some time.
Yeah. But hey, at least he got his feet wet.
He's one of my favorites. He's one of my favorites.
He's fantastic.
He throws out some dirty blocks, and they're so pretty. They get me so excited. I do kind of want to talk just briefly on the Cowboys-Eagles game.
All right.
So, I mean, Dallas blew them out of the water, right? But the Eagles' offensive line, it's just the more I watch them, the more excited I get.
Yeah.
My question for you is, what happens in the offseason with this quarterback? I want to hear your opinion.
I mean, I think that it would be insane for the Eagles to abandon ship right now. I feel like that would be pulling too much of what the Dolphins tend to like to do, which is grab a quarterback they're excited about at the end of the season, all of a sudden say that he's terrible, and then just want to start anew. I think that mindset makes absolutely no sense. I think that Jalen Hertz is insanely talented, and I think that what they need to do is maybe just continue to grow the script so it fits all of his everything that he can do better, because I think that we got to see a lot, but I think we could have seen so much more, and I don't think that everything was tailored perfectly for all of his skills. I think that can definitely be improved in the offseason.
I think so also, and I think so also. That was a lot of so's in there. I think we did see a little bit of that right before he got hurt. We watched them start to tailor that offense towards him.
Yeah.
And it looked really nice.
Yeah.
The offensive line is amazing. They're able to do insane things. But whenever you are blocking for a quarterback, in order to make those blocks for the RPO offense that they run, you really have to have a quarterback who is able to move, make decisions quickly, and just make things happen before you're too far downfield, or, there's a lot of things to go into it. He has the perfect line to make him successful. He has some great tools, but I was actually talking to Daniel about this. He had asked me about this earlier in the season, and the Eagles have Uncle Brian Johnson, who is basically Jalen Hurts' goddad, who tried to recruit him out of college. And I mean, they already have some chemistry. I don't think the Eagles are even considering jumping ship with the quarterback situation. No, but I saw a lot of that on Twitter this week. And so I wanted to kind of touch on that.
No, for sure. And I think that it's important to touch on that because there's a lot of conversation going on right now with like Baker Mayfield as the quarterback of the Browns and what his future is there. That's going to be a big speculation, and there's going to continue to be massive quarterback speculation this offseason. And I think it's because of such a quarterback hungry market that we're in right now.
I think, yeah. I don't think that Baker is at risk to be traded. I think that they're probably going to bring somebody in. And to be honest with you, Baker performs well when the fire's lit under his rear. You bring somebody else in and he's going to win that job.
Sure.
There's
Yeah.
no doubt in my mind. It's that extra motivation. The quarterback that I'm worried about is Tua.
Yeah.
Because I think he deserves another season. I mean, you're going on 3 seasons with 3 coaches and he hasn't had consistency. How are you supposed to develop? He has so much talent and he's proved himself. And then Miami goes and does something stupid like this. And I think it's a stupid decision.
I agree. I think it would be a very stupid decision to move on from Tua. I think you need to give him more time. And I don't think he gets given enough credit for coming back as early as he did after the injury that he had in college as well. You know, that was a very substantial injury that he had. I feel like he needs more time, and I wish that they would give him that. It also sucks too because the entire offense went through different litanies of injuries all season long as well. So it wasn't like everyone was firing on all cylinders and everyone was healthy. No one missed a game. Like, okay, we got no excuses now. Like, there's too many other issues here that you cannot hang everything on Tua right now. And he just needs so much more time to develop. And I think that he's absolutely worth it. I think that he is
I do
really
too.
talented. Like, he has all these good moments.
He does. He sees the field well. He stays calm. He makes good decisions. He was behind a not so great offensive line. And that's hard for me to say because I know a few of the coaches that are on there and it's tough, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm upset that Flores is gone. I think that was not a good decision. And what are you getting out of it? We have so many teams now looking for head coaches. Like, who are you going to get that's going to come in and be better?
Yeah. Which
and
also
that's what makes me so scared about Tua is it's just like
it's going to delay his growth as well to have to adjust to a new head coach.
If they even keep him. Like now it's going to come down to a coach coming in and what if they don't want to keep him?
Yeah. Ugh. That's how I feel. That's
how I feel too. I don't like it.
Get it over with. This is ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, everything else, obviously, this weekend, going back and forth, Kyle, do you both think that Hertz has bought himself 2 years, or are the Eagles going to take a look after 2022? I think he's bought himself at least 2 years minimum. I mean, I think to look at what he put on film this year and say he's only, okay for 1 more year that would be a big mistake on anyone making that decision because he's just clearly very, very talented and obviously
he continues to develop. And that's one thing that, I mean, Jalen Hurts is a bad example because he does perform well in fantasy, but I think as a fantasy world, sometimes we forget to look at the development of players and how they're actually evolving with the game and how they're leveling up at the next level. And he continues to get better and better and better. And yeah, he's made some mistakes, but there's lots of quarterbacks Tom Brady's still out there making mistakes, and he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Absolutely.
So I think absolutely he's bought himself a minimum 2 years. And I think next year we're going to watch him come back even stronger. We're only seeing the beginning of Jalen Hurts. Next year, I think he's going to be insane.
And yes, Kyle, to answer this question, so should Hertz be considered a top 12 quarterback in Dynasty? 100%. He is in the top 12 at the very least. I mean, just
I was going to say
upside, he's higher than just 12.
Yeah, I would say at least top 8.
Yeah, definitely top 8. I think that's a good range. I was going to say, I'm like 5. I'm like, well, it depends on the format, but 8 feels like a really good number for him. Lots of great quarterback questions. Kyle, do you have a draft coming up? You starting a new Dynasty league tomorrow? She said
he is, and we're invited now that you dropped that.
Oh my gosh. Kyle's saying same as Fields. Lance, like the quarterback 8-10 range, and then is Hertz over Lawrence for us. So we'll kind of group these the answers to these questions. Do you want to go first?
Oh man, you're really hitting us with it, Kyle.
Yeah,
Okay.
Hertz over Russell. Okay, let's do a little bit of quarterback rankings. Let's get the pen and paper out.
And we're talking about Dynasty, right?
Yeah, we're
Field
talking
scares me
Dynasty.
because we don't know what's happening there.
We really
What's
don't.
going to happen to Chicago? Who's going to be there? I do think that he's a great quarterback, but I've said this before, standing behind the Bears offensive line is like sliding into Ted Bundy's DMs. It's scary as hell. You're just asking to be murdered.
Don't want to be murdered today. No, thank you.
I just worry about him staying safe, to be honest with you. I think that he has a high outlook, but I'm not drafting him anywhere near a dynasty just because I don't know what that's going to look like in the future. Trey Lance, I do think Trey Lance is going to have a phenomenal career. I think that, 2-3 years down the line is when we're going to start seeing his potential rise. So yes, Jalen Hurts over both of those individuals because I think Jalen Hurts is about to pop off next year. And then Russell Wilson, honestly, and I know people are going to come at me for saying this, I would still take Hurts over Russell Wilson. I don't know what next year holds for him. And two, it doesn't look like he even cares to play right now.
I'm sorry. Pun intended, Will Jenkins. He says, LOL, that's a killer analogy, Maddie.
I love it. I love punnies.
I love punnies. I completely agree with your analysis here of these quarterbacks. I do like Hertz more than Fields, Lance, and Lawrence in Dynasty right now. I think one, obviously, because
you guys are killing me with this.
Killing it with these jokes.
What's up, Albert?
So good. Just with the fact that we've seen it already. Like we already know what we're getting with Hertz. And we all know that it's only going to get better. So that's probably the most exciting part. Everything else has some form of question mark around it. In that sense. And I mean, Russell Wilson, even though he is Russell Wilson, and yeah, he was only playing with 9 fingers this season instead of 10. And next season, he will probably be in much better shape to fully finish out a season the way he's always intended. However, we don't know what team he's going to be with. And this big question mark causes a lot of concern for me in Dynasty, where the goal is to create a team that withstands the test of time. That is the goal of creating a dynasty league where you can have a generational team that's like, I can go to the playoffs for the next 5 years, then decide to blow it up, rebuild, and then create another sort of, that's the whole point. At least to me, that's how I view every dynasty league I have. I'm like, I built this to be good for X number of years, and then I plan on blowing it up for draft picks. Like, that's just how I always do it. And then everyone does draft different in Dynasty, and I understand that, but that's just my perspective on it in terms of how I would value Russell Wilson. For the longevity aspect, I'm out.
So if you were to rank them, you're going Hertz.
Yep.
Are you going to go?
I think I would go Lance right now over Lawrence, to be honest. And one of the main reasons for that has to just basically be writing Deebo Samuel's name and underlining it 3 times. Just the fact that the weapons there, I feel like, are so ready to go right now, not just with Deebo Samuel, obviously with George Kittle as well, with the amazing running backs that they have there, and Brandon Ayuk as well. They're just
the mastermind that they have coaching them.
And they have a mastermind of a head coach. So yeah, I think that Lance has to go right there.
And then, another thing that I want to point out about Lance is what we saw at the beginning of the year when we saw a little tidbit and what we've seen later in the year. He hasn't even been getting reps throughout the season and has already developed. He is making those changes. You can tell how intelligent he is, but he doesn't overthink things. And that's what you want in a quarterback.
Yeah.
You need your center to be incredibly intelligent and your quarterback to be intelligent, but not to overthink.
Yeah. No, completely. And just showing that level of growth in that amount of time as well is also giving you a lot more confidence in him and his draft capital as well. So yeah, then it would
support that.
Just in this microcosm, because I don't feel good giving you my full dynasty rankings, just 1 through 12 right now. I have to. There's too many things, but just in this little
what you
bubble,
threw at us,
just this little bubble, I would say Hertz and then Lance. Then I would go Lawrence and Fields, and I'm just going to remove Russell Wilson from this equation because I feel like for dynasty purposes, it doesn't make sense to include him in amongst those 4.
Mhm. I would actually switch up. I would go Fields over Lawrence just because
Okay.
I don't feel like Lawrence has developed, and it could change. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens at head coach, but if you put them both on the field right now and I had to choose, I'm going Fields over Lawrence just because I feel like Fields can make plays even when everything else around him is crumbling, and I don't think that Trevor Lawrence has the confidence or the athletic ability to do what Justin Fields can do right
I mean,
now.
yeah,
Ask me again next year, it might change.
I think the only part I disagree with is the athletic ability because I think he definitely still has that, but I agree he has no confidence right now.
No
100%. No
confidence.
confidence. And that's something that he's only going to get when he gets the right coach to help him grow that. As you know, this as he grows his career and as the Jags try and figure out what the hell it is they're trying to do season to season. Like the goal is to win. So hopefully they end up landing on that as the goal. But it doesn't seem like they have that entirely in their mindset
Yes.
as an overall goal. It's not on their vision board yet, but hopefully for
I was
2022
gonna
it
say,
is.
hopefully. I love that we slid into we can't stay away from fantasy football. We just can't.
No, we can't. We were supposed to talk about playoffs. Can't even
I
talk about
know.
playoffs.
We can't even
I'll,
talk about playoffs.
I'll
Talking
throw
about
this graphic
Dynasty.
up here real quick so we can at least try and talk about some graphics. Found a graphic online, taking it from somewhere. I'm sorry. Maybe I shouldn't have done that, but I did. Obviously, we have a very fun round of playoffs coming up this weekend, and I want to just go down the list and then let's make picks. Let's start on the right, and let's start with the Cards and the Rams. Who do you think takes that win this weekend? Like we talked about Stafford. We talked about how we don't feel like he's really operating at 100% right now. He's not only does it seem like he's kind of playing hurt, he's definitely playing hurt, but he's also making poor decisions.
He's
And
making poor decisions.
yeah.
But then on the flip side of the coin, the Cardinals have not looked like the Cardinals. But
No, something like something is worn off. It's kind of like when you get a spray tan for like a vacation and then you're like, yeah, I'm still tan. And it's like 3 weeks later and it's like, I'm sorry, it's just your
splotchy.
forearm now and you're very splotchy. Like you need to
Yeah,
go and look
you
in the
need
mirror.
a filter.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. For some reason the Cardinals fall apart without JJ Watt. It's the Watt magic. But if I'm betting on a quarterback here, I'm gonna bet Kyler Murray.
Okay. Yeah, Cardinals on the road are tough to beat.
Will. Yeah, I agree.
Definitely agree with you, Will, on that one. Yeah, I don't know that the Rams are gonna do it. I mean, maybe I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick the Rams just to be opposite here, but I don't feel
Okay.
confident in the pick. I really don't. So,
I think
but I'm gonna write these down as we go. Our picks.
Stafford's gonna have 2 interceptions in this game.
Yeah.
I
could definitely see him having at least one, but 2 sounds about right though.
Okay, which one are we going to next?
Let's go down to let's just keep going down the list. So we got Niners Cowboys.
This game is going to be interesting.
Mm.
This game is going to be interesting.
It's gonna be spicy.
I like the Cowboys here.
Okay. Now, is that because you have this level of faith in the defense there and just what they're going to be able to do against the Niners? Or is it really that you think that Dak's awake right now? He's awake. He's ready to go.
This is solely me thinking that they are going to blow up Jimmy G.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
And I mean, the Niners have a really good offensive line. I mean, a decent offensive line. They have a couple of really good players, one really good player.
Yeah.
But I think that the Cowboys are going to come hungry, and I'm betting on their defense. And I say that with crunchy face because every single time I say this and I pick the Cowboys and I put my trust in them, they do something like flop. That kills me. But I'm not putting my faith in the Cowboys offense. I'm putting my faith in the Cowboys defense and Dan Quinn.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very safe place to put your trust as well. I do love Dallas's defense. They've just been phenomenal this season. I'm going to keep opposite though, and I'm going to go with the Niners here. I just think that there are so many tricks up this brilliant coach's sleeves that I think he's going to be able to fluster Dak Prescott, and I think he's going to be able to pull out the upset and pull out the win over America's team.
I don't remember off the top of my head. I was trying to look at DVOA stats. Let's see. Oh, now it's going to take me a second.
That's okay. I'll pull up this one from Albert. He says he trusts Dak more than Jimmy G. I don't blame you there, but I think I just trust Kyle Shanahan just a little bit more.
I was going to say, and I mean, it's really not dependent on Jimmy G right now. They've been running the ball.
Yeah, it's not. And I think that that's been very helpful. And they've also been, Deebo Samuel was throwing the football now too. So again, they don't necessarily need it to all be on Jimmy G's shoulders. And I think that's what plays to their strength is they're literally leaning on everybody else in this. Will saying, lol, Maddie's team coach, Coach McCarthy.
LOL, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, LOL. I don't think that I would say that.
Coach Mike can't game manage to save his life. Okay, we are going. It's so much harder to do everything on my iPad. Okay. It's probably operator error. Let's find the Niners. Why? Now I'm just choking like Carson Wentz over here. Okay. I'm glad you thought that was funny.
I enjoyed that very much. Oh God.
Okay.
We're good. You good? You got it?
So Dallas is 16th in rush DVOA.
Okay.
I'm going Dallas.
Hey, stick with your pick. I'm good with it.
Pick.
Yeah, stick with your pick.
I overthought that one.
That's okay. I'm also just going to update anyone who has been so kind enough as to tune into our show instead of the college football championship because, maybe our show is a little bit better than it. However, Georgia did win over Alabama 33-18. Somehow magically in the time that we were recording, it went from being 18-13 to 33-18. So that must have been a much more fun end to that one.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, wow.
Wow.
Was not expecting that.
We haven't even been on that long.
But let's talk about the Eagles versus the Bucks.
Yes.
This is one where we might end up picking the same team. I mean, no offense to the Eagles.
You're going Eagles too?
No offense to the Eagles. This has nothing really to do with that team. I think we just talked up Jalen Hertz enough. I think we both know just how capable he is in this offense. However, it's Tom mother effing Brady. Like it's Tom Brady. And
he's playoffs. It's Tom Brady in the playoffs. It's not even just Tom Brady. Yeah.
Tom Brady wants to repeat. Tom Brady does Tom Brady things. This really has nothing to do with you, Eagles. It's no offense to you, but this is a Tom Brady day, and they just got the second seed. So they're at home. They're comfortable. Tom's going to make a statement, and he's going to handily win this. Can I put you down for the Bucks as well?
You can put me down for the Bucks.
Maddie's hand. Just Bucks. I'm just gonna write that really big.
Can I put you down for the Bucks as well?
Can I put you down for that? Yes. All right. Perfect.
Surprised you had to ask, but yes.
I was trying to be polite. But let's move on to the other side of the board and we'll finish these picks out before we wrap up our show. Thank you guys again so much for tuning in. Kyle saying that the Look Back podcast was greater than the NCAA football. Thank you. We really appreciate that.
Wow.
Thanks, Kyle.
Wow.
Means
I love
lot.
it. But it was the Ted Bundy joke.
That just sealed the deal.
Kidding.
You got so many more follows.
I see on top.
All right, Raiders versus the Bengals in this one. And for me, it's got to be, maybe this is another one where we pick the same team, but this is a Joey B win here. Like this is a Joe Burrow game. I think the Bengals are on one, and there's just no chance that the Raiders are going to steal this from them.
The Raiders cannot. They don't have the personnel to defend the Bengals.
No, I don't think they do.
It's going to be an easy one, I believe.
Yeah. All right. So I think we're both going to go with Cincinnati on that one.
Mm-hmm.
So our tiebreakers are probably going to end up on the other side of this one because I kind of have a feeling, maybe I don't know how you're going to go with this next one. Patriots versus the Bills. Which side are you leaning? Are you going?
Game 3.
Game 3 of this. Yes. I mean, are you not entertained by these matchups and they're getting to see this bout back and forth?
I'm really excited about this game.
This is going to be
excited.
a really good game. This is going to be intense. Obviously, you've got the man, the myth, the legend that is Bill Belichick and all of his madness that he has and he's capable of doing and pulling off in the playoffs. We know that we love Bill Belichick in the playoffs. But then you've got Josh Allen, who's been phenomenal. The team feels like they've finally started to hit a stride. But where do you land? Are you going to go with the offensive arm that you have with Josh Allen? Or are you going to go with the crazy defensive and mind trick game that Bill Belichick is going to play in this one?
The last time these two teams faced, I chose the Bills because of that. I felt like Josh Allen couldn't handle the disguises, and not even just Josh Allen, that offense in general. I didn't think that the offensive line could handle the disguises. However, they weren't even fully healthy, and they came out and just put on a clinic. This is so hard.
This is a really tough. I'm going back and forth in my head right now as you're going back and forth.
I can make arguments for both.
Yes, this is really tough. I guess what we're saying, what we need to look at here too is, I keep saying Bill Belichick versus Josh Allen. I'm not even really saying Mac Jones versus Josh Allen right now, but that is ultimately what it is. And maybe that's where my answer is. And I've just got to go with Josh Allen because I feel like obviously where they ended up last season as well in the playoffs and everything that they pushed through, I think that they're just maybe hungrier and maybe they've got a little bit more tenacity in this one than the Patriots do.
Okay, I'm going right now I'm going to the oldest trick in the book where you're looking at the weather.
I love it. No, I do that for every one of their matchups as well because, if it's a blizzardy, snowy just mess, then I'm going to go with the Patriots. 100%. So, are you going to go Patriots? Is it snowy?
It's just going to be bitter cold. So far.
Josh Allen can play in the cold.
Yeah.
Josh Allen can play in the cold.
As long as it's not a snowy, nasty mess. This could change. When people come back and they watch me on Wednesday night talking to Doc, this could change. But I think I have to go with the Bills right now.
All right. So we're both going with Buffalo on this one.
And this is solely just because I feel like I think that the threat that the Patriots present is their disguises, their defensive fronts, their sub fronts. And I think that the Bills are to a point now where they can combat that a little bit and they can win that battle.
Yeah. No, I think so too. I think that they learned a lot from the loss that they first took against the Patriots, and I think that they took that lesson well, and they're really applying it now. And I think that that's only going to help them going into this matchup. Let's finish it off with my Steelers versus the Chiefs. I'm gonna go for broke. Steelers are gonna win this one. Why not?
TJ Watt existence.
TJ Watt is going to make Patrick Mahomes cry and get 5 sacks in this game. It's going to be ridiculous. Minka Fitzpatrick is going to somehow manage to pick him off at least twice as well. It's just going to be an insanely amazing Steelers defensive game. Speak it into existence. Deontay Johnson won't drop the ball. It's going to be great. Who knows?
I'm going to go a little bit opposite.
A little bit?
I think that Casey's going to win in the trenches on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
But I got nothing for you. Najee Harris, yay.
Najee Harris for the win, yay. Yeah, Steelers come away and they win this one and upset Kansas City. I'm writing it down, even though it's probably not going to happen. But,
Speak into existence. I'm there for you. I will be excited.
Yeah,
I'll be excited.
You never know. Crazier things have happened, like the Jags beating the Colts.
What? We're not over it. Not over it.
Not over it at all. It's gonna literally cause me sleepless nights this week of just like, how did that even happen? And just not being able to comprehend how this came to fruition. But Maddie, everyone can tune in for your next podcast on Wednesday.
On Wednesday, catch me and Doc The first look. I almost said the look back, but it's the first look. And we have a good time on there too. Dog really likes to get under my skin, I've learned, I think.
Oh.
He makes these subtle comments that he knows is gonna set me off. And I bite every time.
That's it.
Like,
think of it this way.
No.
It's iron sharpening iron. He knows what to do to make you a stronger analyst and to push these things. That's what he's doing.
He always makes me think, and I will say, I always go into like a little torpedo after we get off, and then I usually win my bets because of whatever decision. I'm either really confident whenever I come off of my picks, or I rethink and I go back and I'm like, So definitely a good time.
Well, thank you everyone so much for tuning in. I'll be dropping my Stock Watch article tomorrow. Look for that. That'll be a lot of fun. Kind of a wrap up of the season. So it'll be a good time. Appreciate everyone jumping in the comments. Kyle, thank you so much for tuning in.
Yes.
Albert, you as well. Really appreciate you guys tuning in and everyone that jumped in. This was a really fun, very, very active episode. So we always appreciate that. But yeah, anything else to sign off before we go? I see your little puppers brought you a toy.
He's been throwing toys at me this whole time, and now he's just like, all right, I'm done with you. I'm getting dumped by my dog.
So cute. Oh my gosh.
But no, yeah, thank you guys for hanging out with us during the Natty. Appreciate it.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Thanks, guys, so much for listening to the Look Back podcast with Sam and Maddie. Check out all the other content, seasonal and DFS tools, as well as premium access to our staff for all your fantasy sports questions in the members-only Discord right here at drroto.com. Have a great week, everyone.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well.